We are going to suffer for a long period and we will try to win games. This will take time.
This perfectly captures the reality Manchester United fans are enduring at the start of Amorim's tenure. Just 4 points from a possible 12, defensive chaos and set-piece vulnerabilities that make every corner feel like a penalty kick against us. If this is the start of a new era, it's one riddled with cracks that need urgent fixing.
If you're going to concede goals like they have and set plays, they're going to find it increasingly difficult.
In their last 2 games, Manchester United have conceded 3 goals from corners. Let that sink in. 3 goals from a basic set play. On Wednesday, Arsenal punished them twice. And by Saturday, Nottingham Forest took advantage just 2 minutes in. Here's the kicker. United already have 2 set-piece coaches. That's right, Carlos Fernandes, one of Amorim's trusted assistants, and Andreas Georgsson, brought in this summer from Lillestrøm to fix exactly this kind of problem. So, what's going on here? It makes you wonder, do United need a third set-piece coach or defenders who can actually defend? Because right now, it feels like no amount of coaching is going to solve what's happening when that ball is whipped into the box.
Winning every game 2-3, 4-0. I think it would have papered over a lot of the cracks because you wouldn't have learned. Probably the best thing that can be happening right now is to see the weaknesses, is to see the fragility in the team where they're not good enough.
And maybe, just maybe, this is the hard truth United needed. Winning games comfortably might have masked the real issues. But how much suffering is too much for a club like Manchester United?
When we had bad times here, the club stood by me. All my staff stood by me, the players stood by me. Your job now is to stand by our new manager.
With the weaknesses laid bare, we're seeing the fragility in this team, on and off the pitch. But here we are, 13th in the table and staring down an even tougher run of fixtures. And some fans aren't just frustrated, they're scared.
Every game it's the hope that kills you. You know, you always think that we're going to turn a corner. United are 13th. I think they're slowly getting dragged into a relegation fight, really.
Dragged into a relegation fight? It feels dramatic, but let's be honest, this is Manchester United. Being 13th isn't just bad, it's unthinkable. How bad will it get before it gets better? With away trips to City, Spurs, Liverpool and Arsenal in the FA Cup coming up in the next few weeks, the road ahead looks anything but forgiving. And Amorim himself?
I have to say it again. The storm will come. We are going to have difficult moments.
He's bracing for more tough times ahead, and the storm isn't just coming, it's here. Difficult moments don't just define teams, they define managers. No matter the system or formation, the fundamentals have to hold steady.
I think when you strip it back and you know, the principles never change, whichever system you're going to play, whichever formation you're going to play.
He needs more time than anybody, ever manager, because under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they were inconsistent. Under Ten Hag, they were inconsistent.
But for Amorim, time isn't a luxury. The inconsistency that plagued Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Erik ten Hag hasn't disappeared. In fact, it's only gotten worse. This isn't just about tactics. It's about leadership, resilience, and bringing stability to a club that hasn't seen it in over a decade.
Listen, becoming the manager of Manchester United is a mammoth task. Ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, they've had managers come in who have tried to replicate that or come close to that, and it's been very difficult.
And for Amorim, that shadow looms larger than ever. So here's the question we need to ask. Is Ruben Amorim the man to weather this storm? Can he fix the defensive disasters, rebuild confidence, and navigate a brutal fixture list to get United back on track? Or are we about to see another manager chewed up and spit out by the weight of this club? Let's dive in and figure it out.
But it's time to really dissect what this squad is versus what it isn't, versus the job that Ruben Amorim has to do. Firstly, this squad is completely devoid of any physicality. Zero.
There's definitely a fitness issue in that squad, and there's a confidence issue.
We don't have time to train. Sometimes our structure, we're past one. We have one game, the next recovery, and then the other game. We have to prepare for the next stop. So it's really hard to manage everything.
Manchester United's current schedule is relentless. A game every 3 days until January. leaving Ruben Amorim with minimal time to implement his ideas on the training ground. Recovery sessions bleed into preparation for the next opponent, with little room for in-depth tactical drills or fitness improvements.
If you got no physicality, no heart, no intensity, you can't do anything in this league. So we can't do anything physically, we can't do anything technically with the players we got. It's a mess.
The lack of sharpness becomes painfully evident as the players struggle to sustain energy or challenge opponents in key moments. It's not just about running more, it's about being combative, quick to react, and durable. Without physical presence or confidence, the team finds itself overrun in critical situations. This lack of physicality has a cascading effect. Players who are not up to the required fitness levels cannot press effectively, dominate duels, or maintain defensive focus for 90 minutes.
He can try and work on it all he wants in the training ground, and it might get a little bit better, but there's a shelf life in terms of where this group of players are going to be able to take him.
The challenges go beyond the players' physicality and confidence. The financial mismanagement by the Glazers has left Amorim with a squad that is not only unbalanced but poorly equipped to play the way he wants.
This is about players that have been tried and tested before and mainly failed, not been good enough. So Jim Ratcliffe has said it's going to take years.
Right.
He said it's been so bad and the money's been so poorly spent that it's going to take years.
It's a big, huge club, but it's a small team. The players showed their limits.
So, what's the solution?
But something's got to give. He's got to almost sacrifice maybe the next month and say, right, we've got to do a fitness camp.
A camp dedicated solely to conditioning and rebuilding confidence could be the reset button this team desperately needs. However, that kind of time isn't available when every game feels like a must-win, and every loss feels like a disaster for a club of this size. Amorim knows the stakes.
We already knew it. It will be a long journey, but we want to win. Because this is a massive club and you feel it when you lose one game, it's really hard for everybody.
He's not just battling opponents on the pitch. He's battling years of mismanagement, a congested schedule, and a squad that's struggling to keep up. Without physicality, heart, or intensity, it's a mountain to climb. And right now, the tools in his arsenal don't seem sufficient. It's not just a challenge, it's a mess. The question is, can Amorim find a way to clean it up while the games keep coming thick and fast? United's defensive struggles don't just stem from what's happening on the pitch. They're a reflection of the chaos of it. And nothing makes that clearer than the shock exit of Dan Ashworth. Just 6 months ago, he was hailed as the man to bring modern footballing ideas to Old Trafford, someone to finally create a long-term plan for a club desperate for direction. Now, he's gone, sacked, and it's left everyone asking, what's really going on behind the scenes? Instead of the stability fans were promised, this feels like yet another chapter in the saga of a club stumbling in the dark. Why would United invest so much in Ashworth? Waiting months to get him, paying a fortune for his services, only to throw it all away this quickly. What does this mean for Ruben Amorim as he heads into a critical January transfer window? And most worryingly, is this a sign the leadership of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos might be worse than what fans endured under the Glazers?
But this is football, and sometimes these things happen with players, with coaches. I know that is not the best situation, but the important thing is that we continue in our way.
Well, the optics are awful. When you look at it from the outside, it doesn't look good. And since Ineos came in, I'm not sure it could have gone much worse, really. They then spend 200 million in the transfer market. Right now, they find themselves in the lowest position they've been at this stage of a season, I think, since 1986, 87. That's been really poor from Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos team, and it needs to change really quickly.
It's hard to ignore the optics here. Dan Ashworth appears to have been scapegoated for Manchester United's broader failures under Jim Ratcliffe's stewardship. From the start, Ashworth's role seemed undermined. Reports suggest Dan Ashworth wasn't heavily involved in key decisions, including the appointment of Ruben Amorim. Instead, the likes of Omar Barada and other Ineos-aligned executives took the reins, cutting Ashworth out of the major conversations he was hired to lead. Even in the summer transfer window, Ashworth's impact was minimal. Players like De Ligt and Noussair Mazraoui Arguably, United's most successful signings were reportedly driven by Erik ten Hag rather than Ashworth. Meanwhile, acquisitions like Joshua Zirkzee were described as club signings, further suggesting Ashworth's diminished influence. If Dan Ashworth wasn't being trusted to execute the vision he was hired for, what was the point of bringing him in? The timing of Dan Ashworth's departure couldn't be worse for Amorim. Heading into the crucial January transfer window, Ruben Amorim is now left without a key figure to support his squad-building efforts. Ashworth's role was meant to bridge the gap between the manager and the board, aligning recruitment with the football philosophy. Without him, Amorim will likely have to rely on Barada and Wilcox, figures who may not fully share his vision. This power vacuum leaves Amorim vulnerable. If results don't improve, he risks being the next scapegoat in what's becoming a recurring theme at United: short-term decisions and long-term instability.
I just hope they're this brutal as they have been with the staff that have been there for years and that they're culling, right? I hope they're this brutal with the players that are there.
He's not wrong. If this club is serious about a rebuild under Amorim, it's not just about tactics. It's about clearing out the dead weight. And here's where it gets interesting. Reports are already swirling that United are open to offers for Marcus Rashford in January. Think about that for a second. Marcus Rashford, one of United's golden boys. But let's face it, he's been massively inconsistent. Yes, he's got talent. Yes, he's had his moments, but he's also on huge wages that are choking United's flexibility under financial fair play. Now, selling him might sting to some, especially for Rashford FC fans who've seen him come through the academy, but here's the brutal truth. It could free up a massive amount of money. Money that could be reinvested into players who actually fit Amorim's system. Players with intensity, physicality, and consistency. The exact traits this squad is screaming out for. Big question is, are United brave enough to follow through? Because clearing out big names like Marcus Rashford might just be the hard reset this club desperately needs. But then again, this is Manchester United we're talking about. Will they make the bold choice or stick with sentimentality? What do you think? Should Marcus Rashford go, or is there still a future for him at Old Trafford? Before we even think about the January transfer window, could Manchester United's turning points lie in the difficulty of the fixtures themselves? Stay with me here. Tough games don't just test a squad, they can accelerate its growth. Take Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. His start wasn't exactly smooth sailing, 3 draws in his first 3 games. But it was the tough fixtures, away to Chelsea and Manchester City, that forced his team to adapt and grow faster than they would have otherwise. Those matches didn't just expose the cracks, they laid the foundation for Klopp's high-intensity, heavy metal football. Now let's bring it back to Ruben Amorim. He's no stranger to tough starts either. When he took over at Sporting CP, the club was in absolute chaos. Less than a year before his appointment, Sporting had gone through 2 managers in one season, Lionel Pontes and Silas, creating a toxic and unstable environment. But the chaos didn't start there. In one of the darkest moments in Sporting's history, on May 15th, 2018, about 50 masked individuals stormed the club's training ground in Alcochete and attacked players and staff. Imagine that for a second. Your own training ground, a supposed safe haven, turned into a war zone. Bastos even sustained head injuries, and the fallout was catastrophic. Key players terminated their contracts, and the club spiraled into disarray. Yet Amorim walked into this storm and turned it around. He built a resilient, disciplined squad that went on to achieve unprecedented success. So could these brutal fixtures United are facing now serve the same purpose? Could games against City, Spurs, Liverpool and Arsenal force Amorim's squad to mature under pressure and adopt his system faster? History has shown us that adversity can be the birthplace of greatness. The question is, will this United squad embrace the challenge? Or will they crumble under the weight of it? What do you think? Can these fixtures spark a turning point? Or is it all just too much too soon? Let me know in the comments. Even the greatest managers face tough beginnings, and Manchester United's history proves it. Let's rewind to Sir Alex Ferguson's arrival in November 1986. His first match in charge? A 2-0 loss to Oxford United. In his first 11 games across all competitions, Ferguson managed just 3 wins, alongside 4 draws and 4 losses. It's easy to forget now, but Sir Alex Ferguson's early days were anything but smooth. There were calls for his dismissal, the results were underwhelming, and the club was far from the powerhouse it would later become. Yet, amidst the chaos, Alex Ferguson laid the foundations for a football dynasty. His early struggles reflected the enormous rebuilding task ahead of him, much like the one Amorim faces today. When Amorim joined Sporting CP in March, he didn't turn things around overnight. The results were far from perfect, just 6 wins in 11 games. But by the end of that season, something far more important had emerged. A clear identity. The team knew who they were, how they wanted to play, and what they were building towards. Fast forward to Manchester United, Ruben Amorim has a much longer time frame, which gives him an advantage. He has the opportunity to lay the groundwork for not just salvaging this season, but for building a team that can truly compete next year. But here's the catch. It's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be quick. While no one is writing this season off, it's clear that patience is key. The fans, the media, and the club hierarchy must understand that a rebuild takes time. Rushing it with knee-jerk decisions, whether that's overreacting to poor results or pushing for short-term fixes in January, could derail the bigger picture. United need to prioritise laying a solid foundation. That means letting Amorim implement his philosophy, even if it doesn't yield immediate results. It means focusing on player development, improving fitness, and instilling discipline, rather than just chasing quick wins. Because let's face it, without these fundamentals, success will always be fleeting. Ruben Amorim has proven before that he can turn chaos into cohesion, but he can only do so if he's given the trust and the time. The next few months might be rough, but if everyone, players, staff and fans alike, buys into the long-term vision, United could emerge stronger than ever. This isn't to say history will repeat itself, but it's a reminder that a tough start doesn't mean the end of the road. Look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He had an incredible start, winning 10 and drawing one of his first 11 games. But that new manager bounce quickly faded as deeper cracks in the squad became evident. A great start doesn't guarantee a great ending, just as a rocky start doesn't mean all hope is lost. The parallels to Alex Ferguson's era are striking, but there's one key difference. Ruben Amorim is taking over in an age of instant gratification, where fans and media demand immediate results. Patience was a luxury Ferguson had. Amorim might not get the same. So the real question isn't whether United can salvage this season, it's whether they can resist the temptation to hit the panic button and commit to the process. But so where does this leave us? Ruben Amorim isn't just managing Manchester United. He's leading a cultural reset at a club that has lost its identity for over a decade. The truth is, this isn't just about one season. It's about the next 5, 10, or even 15 years, laying the foundation for sustained success rather than quick fixes. We've seen it before with managers like Sir Alex Ferguson, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, and Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. They didn't walk into perfect situations, but they were given time, trust, and the resources to shape their vision. Amorim deserves that same trust. His track record at Sporting shows he's capable of not just weathering storms, but turning them into opportunities for growth. However, patience alone won't be enough. The January transfer window will be pivotal. United must focus on bringing in players who fit Amorim's philosophy, athletic, disciplined, and adaptable. At the same time, a brutal squad clear-out might be necessary to make room for progress. Rashford and other big names might be on their way out, not because they lack talent, but because they no longer fit the system this club needs to thrive. And let's not forget the role of the fans. This journey will test the patience and loyalty of even the most die-hard supporters. But remember, this isn't just about winning the next game, it's about winning the future. The decisions made now will shape the destiny of Manchester United for years to come. As we head into the new year, the question isn't just whether Ruben Amorim can succeed. It's whether the club, from the boardroom to the stands, is willing to embrace the growing pains of rebuilding. Because in football, as in life, the greatest triumphs are born from the hardest struggles. So here we are, at a crossroads. Will this season be remembered as the beginning of a new era, or another chapter in the story of wasted potential? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. Ruben Amorim's vision deserves a chance. What do you think? Can Ruben Amorim follow in Sir Alex Ferguson's footsteps and turn a tough start into a legendary reign? Or is the modern-day pressure at Manchester United just too much to handle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow Reds, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement doesn't just help us, it helps us reach more like-minded fans who love diving deep into the world of football. Together, we can build a community that's as passionate about the beautiful game as we are. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.